Hey, what's up, y'all, and welcome back to Keep It Techie. And I think I'm starting to get a little old because lately I've been getting more and more interested in my family history. And it started with random conversations with family, and then it led to digging through old photos. And now I'm like knee deep in genealogy software. And that's what brought me to a project called Gramps. And specifically today, Gramps Web. Now, this is a self-hosted web-based version of the popular genealogy app. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to get it up and running on a Ubuntu server using Docker Compose. And we're doing everything from the terminal. Therefore, no ports or GUI tools. So go ahead and hit that like button if you're into Linux, self-hosting, or just want to support the channel. It really helps me out. So let's get to it. So first off, real quick, what is Gramps? Gramps is a free and open source genealogy platform that helps you organize and document your family history. And it lets you build detailed family trees, attach notes, photos, documents, relationships, and even city sources. It uses a standard format called GEDCOM, which is short for genealogical data communication. So think of it as the CSV of genealogy. It helps you move data between genealogy tools. Now, Gramps originally started as a desktop application. The devs decided to create what they call Gramps Web. And I'm at grampsweb.org, so you guys can check it out. I'll have the link down in the description of the video. That way you can check out all the information about Gramps Web. And Gramps Web lets you host in a browser for easier access and sharing. We're not all in the same city nowadays. And so it's easier to have some type of web application so multiple people can work on your genealogical background using a single application. Now, for us Linux folks who love running stuff in Proxmox or home servers, this is a solid option. And just a side note, this is running in my Proxmox lab, and I've been using it for a while now. And it's been a solid choice in order to keep a track of all the genealogical information that I have about my family. Now, before I move on, I wanted to show you guys at least the GitHub as well of the Gramps project. This is the full project. You can get the application that you can install on Linux, Mac OS, as well as Windows. And this is where all the development happens. And as you can see, Gramps Web is being heavily developed. You can see over the last year, it's been a whole bunch of commits and updates. The last update was like 11 hours ago. So they are actively working on this project and keeping it up to date. And then also you can check out the documentation, as well as they have a bunch of add-ons and all that stuff. You'll see once you get the desktop application installed. Now, the web application has set features built into the website, and they're constantly adding more and more to it. But the add-ons are not available for the Gramps Web. They're mainly for the desktop application. And to be honest, it's best to use them together, which is the way I have it set up. I have it set up on my personal machine. I have the desktop application, and then I also have the web application so my family can get access to it. And one cool thing about the desktop application is you can sync the information that you gather from the desktop application up to the web. It's super cool. It's a super cool application and an awesome project. Now, I want to take a second and talk about why this matters to me personally. Doing family history work can be tough, especially if you're descended from enslaved people. A lot of records were not kept, they may have been destroyed or they just don't exist. And in my case, I could only track back about 5 generations before I hit a brick wall. Like, I found the first ancestor in my line who moved to Louisiana, and that was a huge moment. And tools like Gramps helped me document these stories while we still have the people around who remember them. So even though this is a tech video, it's really about preserving your legacy. What's up, y'all? If you've been watching my channel for a minute, you already know I stay talking about Linux. And if you're looking for a solid, reliable enterprise Linux distro, let me put you on to Rocky Linux. This is the go-to replacement for CentOS, and it's built for the community by the community. It's got everything you need for a stable and secure Linux experience, whether you're running servers, home labs, or enterprise workloads. And the best part, it's backed by CIQ, making sure it stays rock solid for the long haul. So if you're tired of these companies pulling a plug on your favorite distros, Rocky Linux is where you need to be. And I've covered Rocky Linux before, and trust me, it's worth checking out. So head over to rockylinux.org to learn more and get started. Keep it techie. Peace. All right, so let's switch over to my virtual machine so we can get this thing set up and running. All right, so I'm logged into my Ubuntu 24.04 server. And first thing you need to do is update your system. Anytime you install any new piece of software, you need to update your system. So I recommend you guys do that. I'm connected to it via SSH. This is one of the first things you want to do is update your system. And I know there are no updates because I just updated this system, but I just want you guys to get in the habit of actually doing this. So sudo apt update. And then if you had any package updates, then just run sudo apt upgrade, and you can install all your upgrades on the system by running this command, which we don't need to because as you can see, it says all packages are up to date. Now we're going to use my existing Docker setup script from my wiki. And this sets up Docker and Docker Compose on a fresh Ubuntu server. And you can, of course, check for the link in the description to grab that if you haven't already. And let me go down and go over to the website so I can do that right fast. And we can grab it. So one of the first things you want to do when you get to the site, you could just search for Docker, and that way you can find the script. This does a script breakdown where it breaks down each section of the scripts, and it's hosted on my GitHub, so you guys can go over there as well and check it out. So let's go back to our terminal, and what we're gonna do is use wget. So wget, and then we can paste that script in there. That'll download the script to our system. Boom. And then if you ls your home directory, you'll see that you have that installed Docker script. So what you want to do is make that executable by using the chmod command. So chmod, you can do plus and then X, and that'll make it executable. And I don't have to type sudo because this file is owned by me in my root directory. It'll be the same for you as long as you download it to your home directory. Now, if you have it stored somewhere else or you downloaded it to a different directory, you'll have to use sudo because obviously it's not owned by the user. So let's go on and make those changes to the file itself. So Docker, and actually it's install-docker.sha. So go down, press enter. And now in order to install everything, all you have to do is put the period / and then install docker.sha, and this will execute the script for you. And it should ask you for your sudo password if it needs to. Now, one thing it's supposed to do is set up the current user to have Docker permissions, but it's not working for some reason. So I'm gonna go down and do that manually, just show you guys how to do it. And then we can quickly move on to installing Gramps. All right, so Docker is installed. Let's go down and add our user to the Docker group. So sudo user mod, and then -a, capital G for the group. And then we want to specify the Docker group and then specify the user, which is Josh. That's my login. So let's go down and press enter, and then let's exit out and log back into the server. That way, those changes to our groups will take effect, and you can check your group by typing groups and user account, and that'll show you all the groups that you're in. So right now we can run all the Docker commands without running sudo. Now, what I'll be using is the official Docker Compose file from the Gramps website documentation. And so let me switch over to the browser right fast and show you guys where to get that from. So if you go back to grampsweb.org, and if you scroll down here to install and set up information, there is a deploy with Docker tab down here. And this will link you to their Docker Compose file, their official Docker Compose file. So I'm gonna click on it, open it up in another tab. This will open up the raw file. So you can grab this, just copy it. And let me go down and break this down for you right fast. There are 3 containers that will be installed. There's Gramps Web Celery, as well as Reddit. Now, it also creates several named volumes for persistent storage. And this is for the user accounts, media, the database, cache, etc. And if you look at this compose file, you'll see that we're mapping port 5000 inside the container to port 80. Now you can obviously make changes to that. Like for instance, in my environment, I just went on and used 5000 for both because I was putting it on a already set up Docker server that's running multiple other containers, and I needed a different port from port 80 in order to set it up. But either way, we could just visit the IP address in our browser. Unless you have a domain, then that's a little bit more advanced. I won't go too further into setting all that up, setting up a domain, and then also adding a cert or something to that effect. I've done videos showing people how to do that, but it'll lengthen the video and I don't want to go too far into that. I just want to focus in on the application. All right, so let's copy right fast. I'm gonna just copy everything there, and then let's switch back over to our terminal because we need to create us a folder. So let's say you're setting up a Docker server, then you want to store your different containers in different folders so you can distinguish the Docker config files or the YAML files, the compose files. So what I'm gonna do is create a folder right fast. So I'm gonna go make dir, and then we're gonna create a container or a folder called Gramps Web within my home directory. And then I'll also just do both of the commands together, because I'm gonna cd into that Gramps directory as well. So, and you want to make sure you type it correctly, and boom. So it'll create that directory and then cd to it. Now what you want to do is create you a Docker compose file. So all you have to do is type nano or whatever text editor you want to use, and then name it. I try to standardize this stuff, so I keep it all docker-compose.yaml. So Docker compose, but you can name it whatever you want to. It doesn't have to be as long as it's in that YAML format. So you can name it gramps.yaml or something like that. That'll let you know or remind you of what it is. But I try to standardize it for everything. So I use Docker compose for everything, or docker-compose.yaml for every container on my network. Now let's go down, open that up, and then paste in our Docker compose information. And like I said, it will set up those 3 containers for us and set up our persistent storage and all that good stuff. So let's go on and save it. I recommend you follow what they use in their example, but you can obviously go in and modify this, but we're not going to modify it. I'm gonna just save it the way it is. And then now all we have to do is launch our containers. Now it takes a little time, so I'm gonna type it in, and then I'm gonna pause the video so you guys don't have to sit here and wait for it. But all you gotta do is type Docker and then compose and then up and then -d. And like I said, it'll take some time, and that's only because it's pulling 3 different containers, as you can see. So Gramps Web Celery, Gramps Web Redis, and then Gramps Web. But I'll come back when it finishes. For some reason, it stops or it freezes at this point. It'll complete, but for some reason, it'll freeze like right before it finished downloading everything. Like for instance, the Redis one is still going. It says it's still pulling. Also the Gramps Web Celery, it says it's still pulling. And then also the Gramps Web. So once it finishes, it may take like a minute and a half or so. Then it'll start up all those containers, set up the persistent storage and all that good stuff. And then we can go to the site and I can show you guys how to use it. So be back in a sec. All right, so it completed that, pulled the images, created the containers, and set up the volumes. It took about 427 seconds. So a little time, and I'll scroll up a little more so you guys can see it, but that's how long it took to actually pull the images down. But then it set up our persistent storage and we're good to go. And so the system is up and running. And one thing you can do is run Docker PS, and this will show you the containers. So as you can see, it's 3 different containers. You got your Redis, you got your Gramps Web, and you got your, well, one of them is the Celery and one of them is the regular Gramps Web. And this should be our Gramps Web right here, because as you can see by the ports, it's at port 80, and then also the internal port is 5000. So yeah, we're good to go. Oh, and here we go. So this is the names of them right here. I couldn't see it for some reason while I was looking at it. But anyway, it's set up for us. So all you have to do is find the IP address of your server. I believe mine is 128, I believe, 10, yeah, 128. So 10.10.0.128. So that's my IP address, and it's at port 80. So we can go on and switch over to our browser and do the initial setup. So let me show you guys this right fast. If we type in 10.10.0.128, so just type in whatever your IP address is, and it should go to the website to set up Gramps Web. Let me walk you guys through this right fast. This will be the first account. So I'll just name it admin, and then I'll just put in stupid password right fast. Something I can remember. You can put in an email address. I'll go down and put in keepittechie@gmail.com. Cool. And then you can put your name in there. I'm gonna just put Josh. And then if you have an email server set up, you can obviously set it up that way by putting in the information right there. I'm not gonna do that. You can ignore it. It's not required, but that's mainly for user registration. So if you want to allow people to go to the site and set up their own account, then you need a web server in order to set up the full registration for those users. Now, if you already have some family data or a family tree, you can actually upload it here before it finishes setting up the server. And let me show you guys how to get an example. So if we go over to the GitHub page for a Gramps project, if you go to the application, the actual program itself, and not Gramps Web, but the actual program. So if you click on the program itself, this application has been around for a while, but this is where you can get an example. So let me show you guys where it's at. So under example, that directory, And then under Gramps, you can find an example file. So it's example.gramps. And if you click on it, you'll see that it's like super huge, but we can't show this file because it's too big. You can view the raw if you want to, or you could download the file. And I recommend you download the file. I just download it directly from here. Just hit download and you can find it in whatever folder that you store your stuff in. And then let's go down and select the file. Boom. And that's our example.gramps. We can add that file. That should work, and then hit submit. And this will install that example data for us. So it'll create those accounts, storing the configuration, which we set up at the top, and then importing that family tree. So like I said, that's an example file so you can see everything you can do within Gramps. I recommend you import the examples so you can see how to set up some of this stuff before you create your own family tree. Now, down here at the bottom, it just says start. If you click start there, that will log you into the site. So boom, and we got a whole bunch of data in there. And let's go through and show you guys a little bit of the site. On the front page, it has a couple of stats that are set up for you. It's your statistics right there. This is the number of people that are in the family tree. This is your number of families. So that means husband and wives, kids, events, that's different events. So like births, deaths, all that good stuff. All that stuff is stored under events, or it could be like a marriage or something to that effect. Or let's say you want to track everything. Like for instance, when someone graduates from school or when someone graduates from college, you can put that information in under events. Now, places or locations is essentially locations of where people or where they live currently, where they were born, and where they passed away if they passed away. The number of sources. So you can have sources. So if you find some information on a site and you want to just source it so you can go find it later if you need to, or point some information to an actual source on a website, that's there. You have citations, repositories, number of notes, so you can add notes to the different people. And then media is like pictures. So if you want to add a picture to everyone that you have in your family tree, which is beneficial, it just fills it in a whole lot better. And you can find people easier that way, in my opinion, if you have those pictures there. Now, that's enough about the statistics. You got some anniversary data right here. So this will show you some of the anniversary data. And this is all calculated based on the information that you put in there. Now, you can also set your home person. Now, your home person it could be you as you in the family tree, or it could be a specific person that you're focusing in on. It all depends. You could change it however you want to. Now, let me go through and show you guys the list right fast. So over here on the left-hand side, this is your main menu. You got your home page, this is our home page, our dashboard. You also have a blog. You can start a blog on here. And also your list. This is the list of all the people that you put into the database as far as people in your family or descendants. So, and then also you got your family. This is when people get married. You can put those together, where they got married, with information there. Events, these are all the different events, births, deaths. There's a bunch of options when you add this stuff in there. Places, so you can add all the different places. Like I have certain ports in the US, certain cities, certain counties, states, and all that stuff, depending on how far I can go to the location of where the person was born or something like that. Because sometimes you'll only see like a state or something that we're born in, or you only see like a parish. For my instance, I'm from Louisiana, so you see a lot of parishes. So that's about as far as I can go down as far as the location goes. And then you got your sources, citations, all that same information I showed you guys up there at the top. So the repositories, New York Library, Aunt Martha's Attic, Public Library, Great Falls. So that's just your different sources that you went to find a lot of this information. Notes, so you can add notes on your family and all that to the people in your family, as far as just notes associated to them. Then you got media objects. And now let me tell you this, the back end of this application is SQLite. So it's a SQLite database. So relational database, pretty much the same. They have multiple tables working together to manage all this information. And so that's pretty much it on the list. Now there is a map in here. It works okay. As you can see, it's got a whole bunch of spots tagged in here from the example information. So it'll tell you exactly where people were from. List up here as far as places go. So that's part of your map right there. So I just want to show you guys that you can look at the details of it and all that stuff. You can see the people, you can see the place hierarchy, like the parish and all that stuff. The map, you can look at the map, you can go to events there, and this will, it'll tie everything together once you start adding things to the database. Now you can go into your family tree. Let me show you guys this. Now, what you want to do is set a home person. So let's sort the people by like somebody new. So this person was born, let's say I'm Andrew Joseph Gorner. So let's click there. And so we want to find this person and set them as our home person. So I'm gonna just play like this is me. So Andrew Joseph Gorner. So let's go to home, set a home person. You click select. This will find someone already in the database. You can just start typing in the name. I'm gonna just paste it in, and I'm gonna say I am Andrew. So I was born in 1999 on April 11th in Worthington. So once you set your home person, like I said, it could be you, it could be anyone in your ancestry tree that you're working on at the moment or something like that. And then you can go back to your family tree, and this will show you where you are in the family tree. And then you have a bunch of different views, which I thought was super cool once I started figuring this thing out and start playing around with it more. So as you can see, I'm Andrew Gorner. My dad is Barry Gorner, and my mother is April Vasquez. So I don't have any of her parents' information or anything like that. You see what I'm saying? And so it'll show you a tree based on the information that you have. And this is like your ancestor tree, and you got different views. So you got your descendant tree. So if you got kids, it'll show your kids under your descendant tree. It'll look at you as the top person and show you your dependents. Now, let's say you want to look at the hourglass. Hourglass will show you your kids and your ancestors. So descendants, and it'll show you like your first level of descendants and like 3 levels of or 2 generations of your ancestors. And you can modify these settings. Like for instance, under preferences, you can click there. You can add the max ancestors. So I can add more ancestors depending on what I want to see. I can also add more descendants. So let's go done right there. But I just wanted to show you guys a full like picture. And actually, let's have myself as Gary. So as you can see, Gary has a little bit more when it comes to information. So let's do it that way. Let's grab this one, grab this name, and set my home person as Gary. That way we can see a little bit more. You can see descendants, and you can see people that are your ancestors. So let's go to family tree, and let's go, I think it's already home. Yeah, so that's already home. It shows me I only have 1 descendant, and it breaks down all my ancestors. So my mother, my father, her parents, and your father's parents, and then all the way up the tree, man. And which is super cool, man, to actually see. And let me click, let me show you a different view. So you can do the relationship graph. So if you click here, this will show you a big relationship graph. So it'll show you where you are. So I think David Gorner. So that's me right there. And it shows me where I fall in on this family tree. So I got this is my siblings. Well, one of these is my siblings, as well as my, sister, brother-in-law, and then also your nephews, nieces, all that good stuff. And then people they are married too. If you want to go a little further down, you can look a little further down. It'll bring down more people that are descendants of yours, and it ties you up into it as well. So super cool application. You can always go home. You can change your view back to ancestors. That'll go back there. You can reset your settings right here. I believe that by hitting reset, and there you go. You can look at your descendants, boom, and your hourglass view. I just want to show you guys an hourglass view as well. So if you have multiple kids, they'll show up under here. And then also one other view is the fan chart. Now I like this one as well. This is super cool. It kind of shows you in the center, shows your parents, so your mother and your father, and then all their descendants. And it's broken out by the colors. And then your father's father, that's the rest of his family. And then your father's mother, that's the rest of his family. And then same thing for your mother. So your mother right here, then you got your mother's mother side of the family, and then your mother's father side of the family right there. So it's all broken up into colors. You can make changes to the colors. You can show number of events, make changes in their religions, ancestor frequency, all that good stuff. You know, you can make all those changes there. Now, let's go back to the ancestor tree. and let's select a person. So I want to show you guys something. So let's say we want to look at Francis Reed or Lucille, Francis Lucille Reed. Or actually, let's look at the father. Let's go to Eugene up here. So let's click here. And I know it doesn't show that you selected it, but I did select it. So that is the target that we want to look at. So right here, you can click on personal details of this person. So that'll take you to the personal information for that particular person. You can see their parents. You can click here and this will take you back to the tree where we were, but it shows you all the information that we put in about that person, your birth, your death dates, the relationship to your home person. So if your home person that you set up is you, this is your grandfather. This lets you know that that's your grandfather. And then you can scroll down further and it'll show you their family. So his family, he married Lucille or Francis Lucille Reed. That's her maiden name. And then it also shows their children. So this person had 3 children. So super cool to see. You can get all the information there. Let's go to the hourglass. Boom. I just want to show you guys that because I thought that was super cool. You can see that and you can modify how many descendants you want to see. So, and then also the amount of ancestors. So let's scroll up and boom, you can see all 3 of your kids. One of your kids, he was real busy. He got a whole bunch of kids, but it breaks it all out. You know what I'm saying? And then this child right here had a certain amount of kids too. And I believe this one, if we scroll in, didn't have any kids. So that's super cool to see. And then you can also look at your descendants as well if you need to look at them again. And if you can go over to list as well, and you can find a particular person. Let's say you want to click on Lim, whoever this is, Michael Lim or Lim Michael, whatever. You can select this person and you can see that I'm not related, but you can go to the family tree and see where they fall in that family tree. So where is Lim? I can't find it. Not sure. Hold on, let's go back. And then let's go back under lists and let's go to, what was it? Stokes, Michael Stokes, and then show in tree. So there's Michael Stokes. Okay. All right, cool. So you can see where he falls into the tree. You can look at the hourglass. He doesn't have any kids. All he is in the descendants. You can look at ancestor tree and you can expand it out to see if you can find out where this person ties into your family as far as where they go, or maybe that's just their side of the family. I believe I'm not related to this person, but it shows their line at least, or the people that's in their line. So that's cool. Let's not go through too much more because I can probably go for an hour in this thing because this thing is super detailed. It's got a lot of information in here. Now let's go under, let's see, DNA. I haven't really played around with this yet. Chromosome browser, I don't know what any of this stuff is. I haven't added any of it. But you can look at your history. You can see the things that have been modified or changed within the database. And you can also go down here and look at revisions, and this will show you who all made changes. So if you have multiple people connected to it, you can see who all made changes. Like this was an import of that full database, but if we make changes to it, it'll start listing out the history. Now let me go back up here to, let's see, bookmarks. So let's say you need to bookmark a page, you can bookmark it here, or bookmark a person. Like for instance, let's say you're doing heavy research on this person, you can bookmark that person and they'll show up under here. And that way you can quickly go to that person if you need to. Now tasks, you can set your own tasks in here, set priorities. Other people can set tasks. So let's say you got multiple family members that are working on it. You can give certain people tasks to look into certain people. Maybe it's a distant cousin and you want to get them to put in information they may have for one of their ancestors that ties to you as well. So you can give them tasks in there. Now you can also export. You can export this thing. If you decide to get the application, a standalone application that you can put on your system, whether it's Windows or Linux or Mac OS, you can export it out. They've got a couple different formats. You can even export it out in that GEDCOM file. You can do CSV, the web, family tree, gene web, vCalendar, vCard, or whatever. And you can generate all of that. And you can also export all the media files. Now, I didn't upload any of the media, but that's what those broken links are. It looks cool when you have all the people pictures in there. So these are just placeholders. I believe it can't find the media that is associated with it because it wasn't imported. One other cool part of this I wanted to show you guys is the reports. It's a set amount of reports that you can run. I'm not going to go through them all. I just wanted to at least show them to you. You got a couple different reports in here: detailed report, detailed ancestral report, and you have your options in here on how you want to run a report. And different people have created these reports and have added it to the open source project, and it's got options in there, and you can make selections, and then generate that report. And so, like I said, there's a bunch of reports in here. This is good. Let's say you need to send some information to somebody and you want them to write notes on it. It's like one of those people that, like an older person, let's say they do a lot more writing than understanding this web stuff, and you can just do this report, print it out, and then allow them to go in and put any information they know there, and then they can give it back to you, and then you can input the information. Now, just to do a little bit more explaining what's the difference between the Gramps Web and the desktop version. The Gramps desktop version has more advanced tools and plugins, and the Gramps Web is perfect for sharing and viewing family history in a browser, especially with family members. You can also make changes there. You can run reports and all that good stuff there, like I showed you, on there. Now, I'll probably cover the desktop version in a future video, so make sure you're subscribed if you're interested in it. So that's pretty much it for the Gramps Web application. Honestly, it's a great tool to keep family history alive, especially if you want full control over your data and don't trust random online services like Ancestry. If you don't want your information out there on like these online services, you control it yourself. You know what I'm saying? Then you definitely want to check out this Gramps Web application. Like I said, it's open source, it's powerful, and it's something you can host yourself right at home, whether it's in the cloud or whatever. Now, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like it, maybe share it with someone who's curious about family history, and definitely subscribe for more Linux and self-hosting content. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe, stay techie, and of course, keep it techie. Peace. Yo, what's up, y'all? Listen, if you've been sitting there thinking about making a move, let me tell you, tech is where it's at. I don't care where you're coming from, whether you've got a degree, a GED, or just pure hustle. There's room for you in this game. You see, tech is more than just keyboards and code. It's solving problems, creating opportunities, and building the future. You already have what it takes, because tech doesn't care where you start. It cares where you're willing to go. You can teach yourself Linux, learn Python, break into cybersecurity, or even launch your own app. And the resources are out here for free. And yes, you heard me, free. Now, yeah, it's gonna take effort. You'll have to grind, but think about this. The time is gonna pass anyway. So why not invest it in a skill that'll change your life? I mean, tech doesn't just pay the bills, it opens doors to freedom, stability, and generational wealth. So stop doubting yourself, start small, stay consistent, and keep building. Because this isn't just a career, it's a movement. And guess what? You belong here. So let's get it, because the future is yours to build. Keep it tech.